Hello everybody, Jake here and welcome to the hobby. This is the most excited I've been to make a video in a very long time because a lot of modern sealed Pokemon card products now are getting incredibly affordable. These are some of the most affordable prices we've seen for modern products in so long, and it's really exciting to see because we might actually get some retail products in the near future, which is just really cool. Some products like this Destined Rivals ETB, you can see its peaked price was right around May and it was going for as much as $275. I actually clocked in some people who were picking up Destined Rivals regular ETBs for as much as $300 on eBay. Rip in chat for those people, because this is not going for $300 anymore. It's going for roughly right around $130 to $120, which is a massive drop from its previous price of $300. You basically lost 60% of the value if this is something that you're investing in or collecting long term. And this is what I've been talking about, is that a lot of modern Pokemon card products are simply not that rare. They're going to be restocked, reprinted, and added to the market constantly. And the most modern Pokemon card products are some of the most volatile, especially if you're picking them up at all-time peak price. If you're picking up a brand new ETB, Destined Rivals is not that old. It's basically a 1-year-old set. It's got a very long life ahead of it. There's no world where this makes sense at $300. And the market is simply correcting itself. I think a lot of people are calling this a market crash. I disagree. The market's not really crashing, but a lot of modern retail products should be a lot more affordable, and that's what's happening. We're not just seeing that with Destined Rivals. We're seeing that with Pitch Black. Prices are dropping very dramatically. We're going to look at all the ETBs first. ETBs are some of the ones that drop the hardest because typically when anyone is out there scalping, flipping, or looking to resell products, the ones that they can get their hands on the most of are usually ETBs, because those are going to be the ones that are available at Walmart, Target, and a lot of other big box stores that people can actually buy from at retail price and actually try to make a flip. Most scalpers are not going to be able to get their hands on booster boxes because booster boxes are typically held for game stores, and game stores, that's their own different category. So Pitch Black ETBs are dropping, Chaos Rising ETBs are dropping. The retail price on a basic Elite Trainer box is $49.99, $50. If you buy one from Walmart and Target, after taxes, you're basically paying right around $55. At $70, scalpers and flippers aren't really getting any skins in the game. If you're trying to sell this ETB at $70, you're basically going to end up at $55 after selling it on eBay. So it's really exciting to see these ETB prices actually dropping to almost retail price, and this is just the beginning. Hopefully prices can drop even further. Some booster boxes are also seeing really solid drops. This might not look like that big of a drop on the graph, but you got to understand it was reaching prices of $650 plus for Destined Rivals booster boxes. Because Collector is an aggregate, it's not going to show you the absolute peak prices, but there were people buying Destined Rivals booster boxes at over $640, and right now it's going for $460. That is a dramatic drop for a modern sealed booster box. Booster boxes are considered some of the most rock solid collectibles long term. A lot of people who invest in sealed products really believe in the long-term value of booster boxes, and that may be true for long term, 10, 20 years down the line. Could a Destined Rivals booster box be incredibly valuable? I'm sure it could be. But right now, 1 year after release, that's when I start having some really strong doubts. At $460, it's still really expensive. At $460, I think you're still way overvalued. This is not something that you'll ever see me put on the my own Pokemon investing portfolio series. I run a series where I actually try investing in Pokemon cards and seeing how that does. I would never invest in something like this. A brand new sealed booster box, you'll never see me picking it up for my own personal investing experiment portfolio collection. That's just not going to happen. We got some other stuff like Pitch Black booster boxes dropping down to $180. I'm seeing prices go for $170, even a little bit below that. So again, really strong prices. So it's getting pretty much close to retail price. If you are buying a Pitch Black booster box at $180, it's not the worst value. You could have done a lot worse. So I'm glad that prices are getting really close to retail, because from the Pokemon Center, you can basically order a booster box for roughly $165. after taxes, you're basically getting close to 180 bucks anyway. So if you ordered a booster box from the Pokemon Center, you're probably paying pretty close to this price anyway, which means prices on the Pokemon Center, which used to not be good prices a long time ago, I say two years ago, basically the Pokemon Center was always stocked with Pokemon cards because they used to not be the best prices. If you wanted to buy a booster box, it was cheaper to buy from anywhere else besides the Pokemon Center. Now, obviously, everyone tries to get stuff from the Pokemon Center, but I think we might actually reach a point where if you see a pitch black booster box listed for sale and still in stock at the Pokemon Center, you might go, actually, I'm going to pass on that. My local card shop is selling them for $150, $140, $130. Those would be the days. And some of the ones that are still dropping, Chaos Rising, still dropping, touching pretty close to the same price as Pitch Black. The weakest of all of them is going to be Perfect Order. I think Perfect Order is going to be the one to really track, because if a Perfect Order booster box can drop below MSRP of $160, it's going to be pretty wild, because that's when card shops are really going to have to start fighting each other to actually sell some of these if they can't sell through of Perfect Order booster boxes. So that goes on to the 30th Celebrations ETB, which is currently being pre-sold at right around $180. Basically, if you go on eBay, you can probably find people trying to resell 30th Celebrations ETB for $180. That is a hard pass. As someone who's been collecting for a very, very, very long time, you will not see me caught dead buying an ETB, a brand new pre-sale of a 30 Celebration ETB for $180. I honestly actually said if you wanted to pick one up from the GameStop pre-order price of $100, you could do worse. If you really want to just lock in and guarantee yourself like an ETB to rip open on release, GameStop isn't the worst, you know? It's not the best deal, but it's not the worst. And that was $100. $180 to $190 is disgusting. You're basically paying $20 per booster pack. This set is going to be printed very heavily. According to a lot of sources that I have, 30th Celebration pre-order allocations are very strong. A lot of stores are getting plenty of ETBs. A lot of stores are getting plenty of tertiary products. Probably not enough at release. Even if they had like 100 ETBs, that could still sell through in a day. If they had 200 ETBs, it could still sell through on the first day. However, it is strong for the start, and they are going to continue to restock 30th Celebrations ETBs well into next year as a bunch more products are added as well. And the Pokemon Company is also up and running with a brand new print factory and a brand new distribution chain. They are a lot more robust, a lot stronger on the supply side than they are a year or two ago. And here's the thing, that's the supply side. Supply is increasing. And here's the second part. Demand is kind of wavering. The demand for modern products is just not as strong as it was 4 months ago. People are ripping open a booster box or two, or an ETB here or two, but they're not foaming at the mouth for Pokemon cards anymore. I think a lot of people have gotten their fill, and if you bought a Destined Rivals ETB for $300, and I do have screenshots of people buying ETBs of Destined Rivals at $300, they got seriously burned. They got hit in the shin. If you bought one of these ETBs at $300, thinking it was the best investment ever and it's going to go up long term, and right now you see this price of $130, you might be really breathing in some copium right now. You're breathing hard copium. You're saying, no, it's going to go back up. It's going to go back up. I believe in this set. I think still going to be a strong investment 5 or 10 years down the line. You're going to be holding some bags for a long time. Same if you're buying an ETB at $180 or a case of this stuff. There are people sitting on cases of this and they have it written on the side of the box that say, do not touch until 2040 or something ridiculous. If they even can understand how long away that is. 14 years, that box could be flooded or burnt in your house before that time. So much could happen in 14 years. So people are absolutely crazy if they think they are going to be sitting on these for that long. Most likely, they're going to probably resell all of it in a year or two to buy a new car or pay for some life events. So that's probably not going to happen. And let's talk about the singles prices, which is a big reason while a lot of people are just selling. Singles are getting cheaper. Some of the ones that are still exorbitantly expensive, and I want to show some of them. The Mega Gengar EX, exorbitant expensive. It was going for as much as like roughly $1,500. Right now it's going for $1,160. Still quite expensive. It'll be interesting to see how this goes long term. Let's end it here as a special set. We got ourselves the Charizard EX from 151. This one is a fun one to look at because it's tanking quite hard. There was a time when it was going for over $500 raw, and now it's going for roughly $360. It's a fun one to look at because 151 is a lot of people's golden child, but this Charizard is very plentiful. Pretty much all modern SIRs are very plentiful. The Mega Charizard X EX. This is already one of the most graded Pokemon cards of all time. It's touching the top 10 list. It's getting very, very heavily graded, which makes sense. Everyone's ripping open Phantasmal Flames, and there are a lot of copies of this Charizard out there. It is a super cool Charizard, but the supply of it is very, very intense. It'll be interesting to see where it goes long term. We also got ourselves the Mega Darkrai EX from Pitch Black. A lot of you guys were right. I was wrong, which is I said this card could stay kind of expensive, and the market proved me wrong. It's getting very, very cheap. In fact, it's actually cheaper to pick this card up in English than Japanese. The Japanese version of this Mega Darkrai EX is actually more expensive. Who would have thought? Normally, the English version's a little bit more expensive because it's a little bit more rare. It's a little bit more hard to pull. It is harder to pull this Mega Darkrai EX in English than Japanese. But the difference is that there's so much more English products than the Japanese products, at least over here in the US, which makes sense. We're in the region that we're supposed to be in. So the Mega Darkrai EX, it's crashing quite hard. At this price point, it almost doesn't justify ripping open Pitch Black, which is why a lot of sealed products, they're dropping pretty hard. And we also got ourselves the Mega Ninja EX. These prices are very, very low. This is where I say the top chase cards should be, is roughly around $200, especially for a brand new Pokemon card set. So the one that is the most interesting to watch is this Mega Charizard X EX because it's the one that really stands out as being exorbitantly more expensive for a standard set SIR. And if this card is overinflated at $700, it's got a long journey down. These other cards aren't going to drop as much. This Mega Darkrai EX is never going to drop to $100. I think that's too cheap. There are so many people that would pick it up at $100 because it's just a cool card and probably worth at least $100. But for modern chases, I do think 200 is a little bit closer than where it was at 600 or 400. So yeah, the market's tanking pretty hard for a lot of modern steel products. If you're holding something a couple of years older, a little bit more vintage, you're probably not seeing as much of a drop on those products. But modern's dropping, and that's where I think it should be, is that modern sealed products should be readily available and affordable, and they should stay that way for a couple of years before they actually go out of stock and start really, really climbing. So it's exciting times when you see products dropping as much as 60 to 70% on modern sealed, which is crazy. You never see modern sealeds dropping by 60 to 70%. This is really exciting time. I'll be excited to see if I can get a Destined Rivals ETB next year at retail price. Is that possible? Am I just being delirious here? Is it possible for me to actually go to a Walmart in 2027 and pick up a Destined Rivals ETB at retail price? The market has to drop a lot for that to happen. But at these prices, it's starting to look a little bit more attractive. So let me know what your thoughts are. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.